In a land where time does not march, it lingers. Nature holds its breath and whispers stories carved into stone. Have you ever imagined a village floating in the clouds? Or a temple clinging to a cliff, untouched for 1,000 years? Some places aren't just hidden. They are protected, preserved by mystery itself. From sacred lakes that shimmer like mirrors to ancient paths walked only by monks, what you're about to see defies logic. These are not just destinations. They are echoes of forgotten worlds. Today, we journey into places that maps dare not mark, where the extraordinary remains unseen. Welcome to Magical Planet, where we uncover Earth's most hidden, surreal, and awe-inspiring places. From remote villages suspended in time to landscapes that feel like dreams made real, our mission is to take you beyond the ordinary. Each episode is a journey, across continents, across myths, across the unseen. So if you're passionate about nature's mysteries and humanity's forgotten wonders, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this journey with fellow explorers. Your adventure begins now. We all know Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world, but the number, 8,848 meters, doesn't really mean anything until you realize that's nearly the cruising altitude of a commercial jetliner. But even that isn't the most staggering fact. The real astonishment lies above 8,000 meters, in a place with a deadly accurate name, the Death Zone. And that's not some poetic name. Up there, the air is so thin that the human body is no longer able to sustain itself. You are not climbing anymore. You are actively dying. Every second, every minute, your body is consuming itself just to survive. And what's more terrifying, the mountain is still growing. Due to the collision of tectonic plates, Everest gets about half a centimeter taller every single year. It is a giant, still reaching for the heavens. So the question is, why? Why are human beings so obsessed with conquering a place so clearly not meant for life? Why would anyone risk everything for it? When the legendary climber George Mallory was asked why he wanted to climb Everest, he gave the immortal reply, "Because it's there." That answer says it all. Everest isn't an enemy to be defeated. It is the ultimate test of human will and human limits. It's called the third pole of the Earth, equal to the North and South poles in its harshness and symbolism. To conquer, it isn't just about planting a flag. It's about standing on the highest point of our planet, a moment where you touch greatness, a face-to-face conversation with nature in its most raw and majestic form. But that conversation comes at a terrible cost. The death zone is not an empty threat. More than 300 people have lost their lives on its slopes. And here is the most brutal truth of all. Most of their bodies are still there. The extreme weather and exorbitant cost make retrieving them nearly impossible. The mountain has become a vertical graveyard. There is an area near the summit chillingly known as Rainbow Valley. This poetic name comes from the brightly colored parkas and gear of the fallen climbers who now lie permanently against the white snow. Each color tells the story of a dream cut short, an ambition swallowed by the mountain itself. In the end, Everest is more than just a mass of rock and ice. It is a giant mirror reflecting human nature itself. It reveals our courage, our resilience, and our unending spirit of discovery. But it also exposes our obsession, our ego, and the price of glory. The line between triumph and tragedy on that summit is as thin as a razor's edge. So when you see an image of Komolungma, the Holy Mother of the Universe, as the Tibetans call it, don't just see a mountain. See a cathedral of nature, a place that demands absolute respect, a place that forces us to ask ourselves, where is the limit of human ambition? And what price are we willing to pay to touch the sky? In 2009, the entire world was mesmerized by the floating mountains of the planet Pandora in the blockbuster film Avatar. But what if I told you that Pandora is real? Welcome to Zhangjiajie. There are no floating mountains here, but there are over 3,000 vertical quartz sandstone pillars, some stretching over 200 meters high, the height of a 60-story skyscraper. This is not a landscape generated by a computer. This is a Rayal stone forest on planet Earth, and it was the direct inspiration for director James Cameron. Reality is even more magnificent than fiction. So, what great force, what divine artist could have sculpted such an impossible landscape? The answer lies not in human ambition, but in the infinite patience of nature. Travel back 380 million years. This entire region was once an ocean. Over eons, sand settled and compacted into sandstone. Then, the tectonic power of the Earth lifted this entire plateau into the sky. And that's when the true artist got to work, water and ice. For millions of years, rain seeped into cracks, freezing in the winter and shattering the rock. Erosion slowly, relentlessly, and meticulously carved away the softer parts, leaving only the strongest pillars behind, defying gravity. This is a sculpture hundreds of millions of years in the making. But how can a tiny human being possibly explore a world built for giants? This is where human audacity meets nature's grandeur. To access this world, we had to build the unbelievable. Behold the Bailong elevator, the 100 Dragons elevator. It's the world's tallest outdoor lift, bolted directly onto the side of a cliff. It rockets you 326 meters into the air in just 1 minute and 32 seconds. You're not just ascending, you are blasting through layers of geologic time. And if that's not enough, try walking the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge. A 430-meter long structure, suspended 300 meters above the canyon floor. Look down, and there is nothing beneath your feet but a deep, dizzying abyss. Every step is an act of faith, a surrender to a marvel of human engineering in the heart of a natural one. In the end, Zhangjiajie teaches us a powerful lesson. Human imagination, no matter how wild, can barely compete with the creativity of nature. We thought we invented Pandora. The truth is, Pandora was here waiting for us all along. This isn't just a scenic spot. It's a reminder that our planet holds wonders far beyond our wildest dreams. This isn't a movie. This is a living masterpiece, a lost world, profound, proving that the greatest fairy tales were already written into the earth itself. This entire landscape is a cemetery, not a cemetery for men, but an ancient, sprawling one, submerged at the bottom of the sea hundreds of millions of years ago. Every one of these dreamlike hills you see was once coral and marine life. They lived, they died, and their bones settled, compacting into a colossal layer of limestone. And then, when the sea retreated, nature began its greatest masterpiece. And that masterpiece is so beautiful, it's printed on the currency of an entire nation. This landscape, quite literally, is money. So, what power sculpted this dreamlike world? It wasn't the violent collision of continents. It was the gentle, patient touch of water. Rain, carrying natural acid, dripped onto the soft limestone for millions of years. Like an artist dabbing a brush on paper, the water slowly dissolved, shaped, and carved. It didn't destroy, it revealed. It created thousands of hills with fantastical shapes. Some look like a horse bowing for a drink, others like a woman gazing out for her husband. This wasn't a monument built by force. It was a poem, written in water and stone. And how did humanity interact with this poem? They didn't try to conquer it. They learned to live with it. Instead of building massive bridges, they crafted simple bamboo rafts, gliding silently on the Li River, letting the current guide them. And they created one of the most beautiful partnerships between man and animal, cormorant fishing. Picture it, in the early morning mist, an old fisherman on his raft, a single lantern hanging from its bow. Beside him, his partners, the cormorant birds. On his command, they dive into the jade-green water, catching fish and returning. This isn't work. It's a dance, a ritual passed down through 1,000 years. In the end, Guilin is not a wonder of human power. It is a wonder of human humility. While other civilizations built pyramids and great walls to declare their dominance over nature, here, humanity chose a different path. They let nature lead, allowing its beauty to shape their poetry, their art, and their entire way of life. This is not a place you come to see. It is a painting you can step inside. And once you are inside, you realize that true greatness isn't always about building something enormous. It's about knowing how to become a small part of something much, much greater than yourself. This isn't a hiking trail, it's a dare. Look closely. A few wooden planks, some looking centuries old, bolted directly onto a sheer cliff face nearly 7,000 feet in the air. Its width, barely enough for a single foothold. Beneath you, nothing but a dizzying drop into the abyss. The only thing tethering you to life is a simple harness clipped to a rusty iron chain. Welcome to the plank road in the sky on Mount Hua, a place that has earned its title, the world's most dangerous hike. So who, in their right mind, would build something like this? And more importantly, why? The answer will shock you. This path wasn't built for thrill seekers. It was built for seekers of immortality. Mount Hua is one of the 5 great mountains of Taoism, a sacred place where hermits and ascetics believed they could commune with the gods and attain enlightenment. This cliffside walk wasn't a tourist trap. It was a test, a filter. At the end of this terrifying path lies a secluded tea house, said to be one of the holiest spots on the mountain. To prove you were worthy of reaching it, you had to be willing to renounce everything, to face the most primal human fear head-on. The fear of falling, the fear of death. So how was it built? Not by armies of slaves or modern engineers, but by Taoist monks and hermits, armed with unshakable faith and the most primitive of tools. Imagine a monk dangling from a single rope in the middle of the sky, with nothing but a hammer and the idea of immortality in his mind, chipping away at the rock face, hole by painstaking hole. Every strike of the chisel was a prayer. Every plank set in place was a step closer to eternity. This is a structure built not of wood and steel, but of pure, unyielding will. In the end, Mount Hua teaches us a raw, undeniable truth about life. This path is a metaphor. It forces you into a state of absolute presence. You can't worry about yesterday or hope for tomorrow when death is one misplaced foot away. All you have is the next step, your own breath, the feel of the cold iron chain in your hand. This isn't about conquering a mountain. It's about conquering yourself, conquering the fear that lives deep inside your own mind. And the lesson it leaves you with is profound. Sometimes, to find true peace and enlightenment, you must have the courage to walk along the very edge of the abyss. For centuries, Westerners who saw traditional Chinese landscape paintings thought they were pure fantasy. They saw twisted pines clinging to impossible granite peaks, floating on an ocean of clouds, and they thought, no such place could be real. It's just an artist's imagination. They were wrong. That place is real, and its name is Huangshan. And here is the final twist. The name Yellow Mountain has nothing to do with its color. It was renamed in 747 AD in honor of the legendary Yellow Emperor, who, according to myth, ascended to heaven and became an immortal god from this very spot. This is not just a mountain, it's a stairway to divinity. So, what grand designer, what celestial force created this living painting? The story begins over 100 million years ago, deep beneath an ancient sea. Magma pushed upward but never broke the surface, cooling slowly into a massive dome of granite. Then, the Real artists arrived, glaciers. During the Ice Age, immense sheets of ice scraped and carved this dome, grinding away the softer rock and polishing the granite into the smooth, soaring peaks we see today. The glaciers did the heavy lifting, but it was the wind and rain that added the soul. They sculpted the rocks into grotesque, fantastic shapes and allowed the now famous Huangshan pines to grow in the most logic-defying places, some growing straight out of the solid rock, their roots clinging to life in a way that defies all botanical rules. But how do mortal men navigate a landscape designed for gods? The answer is carved into the mountain itself. 60,000 steps. This is not an easy stroll. It is a vertical pilgrimage. Imagine, for a moment, generations of workers, dangling from ropes, hand-carving every single one of those 60,000 steps into the hard granite. The sheer human effort is almost as staggering as the mountain itself. And even today, you will see porters carrying immense loads of supplies, food, water, linens, balanced on bamboo poles across their shoulders, making their way up, step by agonizing step. They are the human price of admission to this paradise. In the end, Huangshan offers more than just a view. It offers a change in perspective. When you finally stand on a peak, looking down at the famous Sea of Clouds, as it laps against the granite islands, the world you know disappears. All your earthly concerns, all the noise and chaos, are swallowed by the mist below. You're no longer on the world. You are floating above it. Huangshan doesn't just show you a beautiful landscape. It shows you that the most fantastical dreams are not found in our imagination. They are carved into the very fabric of our world, waiting to be discovered. There is a place on Earth that looks like it was designed by a mad god. A single stone spire, split perfectly in two, with a tiny temple perched on each half, linked by a bridge no wider than a whisper. But the most unbelievable thing about this place isn't what you see. It's what it is. This is an island in time, a biological fortress that somehow survived the last ice age, completely untouched. While glaciers were grinding the rest of the world into dust, this place remained a sanctuary. We are looking at an ecosystem that is over 70 million years old. So what happened here? What miracle allowed this one place to endure? The answer is that this mountain is a geological outlier. It is made of ancient, incredibly hard rock that refused to be eroded. As the softer surrounding lands were worn away over millions of years by wind and water, Fanjingshan stood its ground, becoming an isolated peak, a sky island. This isolation turned it into a living vault, an ark of life. It became a refuge for species that went extinct everywhere else on the planet, including the incredibly rare Guilin golden snub-nosed monkey. Nature wasn't building a spectacle here. It was building a safe house to preserve its oldest and most precious creations. And how did humans respond to a place so sacred, so untouchable? They sought to reach its highest point, not to conquer it, but to worship. They believed this was the place where the future Buddha, Maitreya, would achieve enlightenment. And to get there, they performed an act of devotion that is almost impossible to comprehend. They carved nearly 8,000 steps into the side of the mountain. The final ascent isn't a hike. It is a vertical prayer. You climb narrow, precipitous stairs, pulling yourself up by iron chains, with nothing but open air around you. Every step is a test of both physical endurance and spiritual faith, a journey to prove you are worthy of standing on ground that has been blessed by time itself. In the end, Fanjingshan is a lesson in balance. It is a place where the raw, unstoppable power of deep time meets the focused, unyielding power of human belief. It is a testament to nature's incredible resilience and to humanity's relentless search for meaning in the most impossible of places. It reminds us that while some seek to conquer the world, others seek only to find a quiet place on its highest peaks, to listen to its oldest secrets. It is, in its simplest form, a hole in a mountain. But it is a hole so massive, so perfectly formed, that in 2011, a pilot flew an airplane directly through it. This isn't a cave. This is a divine wound in the world, a colossal archway carved by nature, 131 meters high. Its name is Tianmen Shan, and it translates literally to Heaven's Gate. But this isn't some random geological fluke. Legend says that in the year 263 AD, a massive section of the cliff face simply collapsed, creating the archway in a single cataclysmic event. It wasn't seen as a disaster. It was seen as an omen, a sign that the heavens themselves had opened a door to the mortal world. So the ambition here wasn't to conquer it or to worship it from afar. The ambition was to build a stairway to it, a modern pilgrimage to the sky. And how do you reach a gate that hangs in the heavens? Your journey begins not with a step, but with a leap of faith. You board what was once the longest passenger cable car in the world. For 30 minutes, it lifts you from the bustling city below, over tranquil farms and houses, and then you hit the mountains. Suddenly, you are no longer a spectator. You are gliding through a vertical world of stone and mist. Or you can take the road. And what a road it is. A masterpiece of terrifying engineering known as the 99 Bending Road. It is a dragon coiling up the mountain, a relentless series of hairpin turns, each one more dizzying than the last. The number is no accident. In Taoism, 99 represents eternity and the heavens. And for the final test of your courage, you step out onto the coiling dragon cliff skywalk. A walkway made of glass, bolted to the side of a vertical cliff. Your own 2 feet suspended thousands of feet in the air. It's an act of pure, terrifying trust in a few panes of glass. In the end, Tianmen Mountain is different from the ancient sacred mountains. It is not a monument to faith or dynasties. It is a monument to 21st century audacity. It is a testament to our relentless drive to engineer an experience, to make the impossible accessible. We didn't just find Heaven's Gate. We built the infrastructure to commercialize it, to turn it into the ultimate thrill ride. It's a declaration that in the modern world, if there is a gateway to heaven, humanity will not just find it. We will build a highway, a cable car, and a glass bridge right up to the front door.